We can't keep blaming women for the household falling apart. There are so many other things and so many other factors that have impacted the Black family that it's not just women.
See, what happens is that when we get down to this war and people starting to fight, it's a lot more white folks in the military than it is Black folks in the military. What I think we're witnessing now is their pure racism is starting to peel out, and now everybody is starting to be like, hey, you didn't promise us that. His big, beautiful bill passed last night. I told y'all he got the fine girl in the club bill. That's what I call it. He walked her all through the club, and everybody was like, give me her number. Donald Trump pulled a big one off last night, y'all, and that one is going to hurt. It's going to leave a mark on everything that we're going to do here. I ain't telling people to get out here and start saying crazy stuff about one another and start trying to pick fights with people. But come on, man. We definitely need to do more coming together than we do breaking apart. That's for sure.
It's like a card game for Trump. I got all the Trump cards and the wild cards and the jokers. Nowadays, we have the sophisticated kind of racism.
Mhm.
This real fine-tuned kind of racism. Except Donald Trump is going back to the colored signs and white signs without posting it. And he's saying, we have to go back to that Fannie Lou Hamer, I want better, even if I don't know what better is.
And until we get to the place to realize that it doesn't matter where you are, if you Black in America, you do not have fair equability in no space you occupy. And if you believe it, then you are a part of the problem as well.
What's up, everybody? You tuned in to another episode of Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell and Dr. Heather E. Burton in the house today. How you doing today, doctor?
I'm good, and I'm on time.
You on time. She didn't even have to run in here today, y'all. She walked in today with a case of water in her hands today. So she was ready and willing to go. She's helping out. You say you bought something in. What you guys got going? What's the water is all about?
I was bringing that in for the families who lost their homes and everything and all their belongings in the fire last week. We often, and I was encouraging some of our church members and others to bring things over and drop them off. And so we got some stuff that's going to be delivered in a little bit by our steward. I think that's the name. We don't call them custodians. We call them, I think, stewards of the building.
Okay.
They got fancy names.
Isn't them the deacons?
No, that ain't the deacons. That's all right.
I'm trying to make the deacons
You
do
try to make the
everything.
deacons do everything. Those are not the deacons, Ken.
The deacons do. Okay.
I ain't gonna say the deacons wouldn't drop stuff off. They probably would also, but that's not the deacons.
I got you. Unicorn. I want you to give us an update of what's been happening over there. I know y'all been grabbing stuff and getting information and people dropping off stuff about the families over at Garden Valley and everything. You want to give us an update and what people can do to continue to support the families and everything you guys got going on over there?
Yes. If you
Excellent.
yourself or someone who would love to give with a cheerful heart, we would love to accept. The only thing we are not accepting anymore is clothes unless they are for big men or babies. That's the only clothes that we are accepting at this point. We're only accepting food, toiletries, household goods, things of that nature, lamps, anything that you need in your home, these people need.
It's really good to see how the community's been coming together on. I've been watching stuff on social media and everything. It's just, I know it's just more and more stuff coming over there in abundance. So anything anybody can do, we're still looking for help, right?
Yes, absolutely. We sure are. Again, it was over 40 families displaced. So grocery gift cards, Uber ride gift cards, RTA passes are needed as well. Again, anything in the household realm that you have to give, we would love to accept for these individuals.
Excellent. All right, y'all. So if you want to give something, continue. Let's help continue to support the families that are out there that's doing their stuff there. And we got a lot of people in need. So everybody that's in need that's out there, if you still want to contribute and give something to the families, you can do so by coming up here and dropping it off right here at the WOVU 95.9 studios. And you can do it. Dr. Burton, what else is on your mind today?
Ken, I'm tired today.
Really?
Yeah, I was sitting here like half asleep.
Really?
I don't know what happened. Maybe it was the heat when I drove over here, the humidity. has me a little drained today.
A little drained.
Yeah, a little drained.
Oh, we gonna.
But I had a busy weekend.
You always have a busy
I
weekend.
know.
Was you in town or you left?
I was in town. I was in town. I had to do a panel on Saturday for Danita Harris's Shine Ministries, and it was very interesting. It was a great panel. It was woman to woman, so we talked about woman's issues.
Okay.
So that kind of took it. Then the graduation party on Saturday, and then the girlfriend conversations where your sister friends had to have those come to Jesus conversations on Saturday as well.
Oh, you did a lot of woman building.
I did some empowerment this weekend, some empowering.
Did y'all empower anybody though?
I'm hoping I empowered them with recommendations to seek counseling. Because I know my limitations. You know your limitations.
Some of them
you
need
offer,
some counseling.
Yeah, you offered some professional help.
Can I ask you a quick question since you were doing all this women work over the weekend? So Candace Owens dropping a book in August entitled
drop a
I wish y'all could see her face. As soon as I brought up Candace, okay. Next person y'all need to bring. Come on, to have that conversation.
Candace would give me a whole lot of views.
She sure would. She sure would. And she'll give me a whole lot of facial expressions.
So she has a book dropping in August. You can pre-order now entitled Make Him a Sandwich.
Ooh.
Why Real Women Don't Need Fake Feminism. How do you feel about this title?
Why Real Women Don't Need Fake Feminism.
Basically, in the book, she explains that the structure of family has been ruined by the feminist movement.
Oh, so in other words, she's supporting. I don't really follow Candace Owens because I listen one time. And once I listen to you one time and you say stupid stuff, I just can't engage with that. But I'm going to ask this, Uni, and you help me out. Is it one of those things where the argument is women need to be in the house or women need to be subjective, or what I say, more, I'm trying to think of the word, but with men that we are ruining the family? Because it reminds me, and let me go back, it reminds me of research that came out in the 50s and 60s where it said that women were the responsibility of delinquent children, as well as women were the responsibility of broken homes and marriages. And so the working woman. And so articles actually blame the working woman. And I'm wondering if that's the view that she's coming from.
She is coming from a view of, in society today, it's very unrealistic for women to have it all like we are told that we can. So we are told that we have to be mothers, we have to be bosses or employees and have a job or bring in some type of income. We have to also be a student and pursue our education, get these college degrees. What she is saying is the feminist movement as a whole, removing women from the household and putting them into places of employment and things of that nature, is more so the destruction of the family and the unhappiness of women today in general.
Oh, I can't agree with that. And I really can't agree with that. I'm going to have to read the book. Yeah. Reluctantly.
Same.
Reluctantly. But
we talk about it.
But I'm gonna have to read it in order to give that other perspective. But I think when we think about that, we think about women's issues and blaming women yet again for, if they come out the household falls apart. We can't keep blaming women for the household falling apart. There are so many other things and so many other factors that have impacted the Black family, that it's not just women. The other thing that I think about with the statement that you made is, what about women who are barren? And so society now defines them by, if you are not a mother, then you're not a woman. And I talked about that on Saturday briefly, is that we put these classifications on what a woman should be. And what does that do to a woman who cannot have children? What does that do to their mental state? And so they find happiness in their work. They find happiness in other things. They find happiness in their relationship with Christ. All of this, but yet you want to say, and I think that's the disadvantage that we always do with gender, race, everything, is that we make it monolithic and we try to put everybody into one category, and we cannot do that.
No.
I think I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
And I don't have no husband. That don't mean I don't want one. That don't mean I want one.
Say, I think you could be happier if you had one.
What? Oh, okay. I'm
We're
not
not
gonna
gonna
say
go
it.
down
Right.
that
I
rabbit
think you
Right.
hole.
would be
Because
a lot
here's the
happier.
thing,
Yeah.
especially at this age, and not to make this into a relationship
Mhm.
conversation, but at this age, that means I've got to now adjust
Yes.
to a whole nother person in my
Yes.
space, my
Yep.
house,
Yep.
my life.
Yep.
And so what I've known for many years, I now have to bring somebody else into that.
Yeah. And
So
they got to do the same.
they have to be willing to do the same.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean probably for that first year, I don't know how I'm gonna be like, oh, this is a bed of roses. Cause now you eating up my chicken that was supposed
Yeah.
to be my leftovers, and I gotta put my name on the box. I
You
want
gotta
you to
pay
eat my
for 2
chicken.
vacation plane
Right.
tickets now.
Right.
It's not just
Right.
you.
My me-cation now turned into family vacation.
But that's the best part. That's
Yeah.
the best part. That's the part about you don't experience that you don't think you missed until you miss it.
Yeah, I said something to somebody this weekend though, because I went to a friend of mine's house and I was like, this is the only miss that I miss is growing with someone and starting at the point where you may be buying your rings at the pawn shop, but
Right.
then you've developed into this couple that is
Exactly.
a power couple within their own rights. And
Correct.
so that's what I would say I miss. But in terms of going back to Candace Owens, I don't think that defines who we are. And I don't think we can blame women as the responsibility for the breakdown of the family as the catalyst.
Now the government is the reason why the family.
How about let's just go back to slavery?
We can go back there, but after slavery came about,
It was the government.
It was the government. And we're talking about the breakdown of the family structure itself, whether it was black, white, poor, because the well-off middle class and families that are in a better tax bracket are in a different, they're not fitting in that gap as much as the poor couples are. You see what I mean? And when you get into this economics of life and family, then it start breaking down where the husband is not there as much or the father's not there as much. And a lot of that has to do with systemic economic resources and things that they poured into the community to tell you that this is what you need to do in order to survive. And people did that, whether it was Section 8 or other things that kept males out of the household, whether it was just receiving welfare or only giving females with babies welfare, but not doing that, making it seem as if a woman's on welfare, that once you're on there, there's no way of getting off. If you try to get somewhat of a job or anything, take the little benefits from you, which isn't much, but then the job you get, if you lose it, you have to start all over again. As a trap. And most people don't want to just fall into the trap because it's just so hard to get it. You talk to the people who get Section 8, they say, hey, when you get it, it's hard to fall out of the trap of knowing that, hey, I got this voucher that's going to pay my rent. Now is it, I'll get out here and find a job, but sometimes people, and I will say this, we have a bad case of believing in ourselves and want to work hard, that we don't want to take the chance of losing the food stamps, don't want to take a chance of losing the Section 8, don't want to take a chance of on love, Dr. Burton, even on love. You might have to share that chicken. You may have to buy 2 tickets,
and even
man.
think about this. Think about our seniors who don't want to get married again because they don't want to lose their Social Security.
That's true.
Yeah. So
That's
you've got
true.
all of these things that impact
That's true.
Candace Owens. You got all these things that impact.
I would need you not to say it. I'm a co-signer.
Oh, I know you're not a co-signer. I ain't
do
even
I
allow
agree with certain statements that have been made.
Well, Candace been
Yes,
switching
but
now.
overall,
She's been
do what?
switching now. Candace been switching. I was listening to a podcast she was on with Stephen A. Smith. And if you guys haven't checked that one out, it's a really good one. I'm going to tell you, she was on a podcast with Stephen A. Smith and had me and Yvonne looking at it like, what is going on? It's
But
like
so
it's
here's
trouble
my
in
question.
paradise here.
So here's my question. When people make that switch, so we got Candace Owens that wanted to make the switch. We got Omarosa trying to make the switches. What do you think about the switches?
Oh, it's because of the MAGA. They're losing their mind. And some other people who are involved in that are now coming to a point of, hey, you know what? I can't even deal with some of this stuff. Some of it is just not making any sense. And I'm going to tell you where it's breaking at. And I'm going to say this, and you guys just keep watching. What's breaking now is this war. See, what happens is that when we get down to this war and people starting to fight, it's a lot more white folks in the military than it is black folks in the military. And that means when we go to war, they go into war. And so now what people are looking at now is, hey, brother, you said you were ending war and you jumping us right into another war. And we in a war on something that most people find, no matter which side of the river you sit on with this Gaza thing and what's happening over there, is an issue. And so now what you're seeing is the breakup within the MAGA, because the MAGA folks those guys are a lot of racist people. I'm gonna put it that way. Down they're starting to say, why are we doing this for the Jews? Why are we involved in this thing for them? Now you're starting to see that come out. So what you're seeing is how I believe, this is just my opinion, what I think we're witnessing now is their pure racism is starting to peel out. And now everybody is starting to be like, hey, you didn't promise us that. You said you was going to do this, but now you're doing this. And now our family members are going to be dying in these wars that you're about to pick up and fight over something that most people probably didn't agree with in the first place. They just never said nothing.
They never said.
That's just my opinion.
That statement, pure racism.
Pure racism. It's pure racism.
It's pure racism.
Pure. You don't get no closer than what the MAGA folks is about to do now.
Yeah,
Watch.
just race. My mom sent, which is so interesting. My mom sent me a clip of Dr. Umar talking about racism versus bigotry. And I was just thinking about that when you said pure racism and his definition of racism being from that when we're talking about power and systems and that sort of thing versus bigotry.
That's
and
correct.
That individual behavior of that. And I think with that, you're right, is that they're becoming aware of what you said you were going to do. You're not even touching anything close to what you said you were doing, but you focused on everything else that's destroying us. Like I told somebody, I said, stop minding other folks' business when it comes to bombing and that sort of thing. And we were joking around about it because sometimes we do have to get in, and when we talking about global affairs, is that we have a necessity to engage in global affairs. But this man, I'm at a loss of words, and I ain't at a loss of words often.
His big, beautiful bill passed last night. I told y'all he got the fine girl in the club bill. That's what I call it. He walked her all through the club, and everybody was like, give me her number. I need to sign on. And they signed on right on with her, and they got that big, beautiful bill passed.
So we all know that bro ain't worth nothing.
Everybody in the hood knows that. Everybody, we all know she ain't never been nothing, but you can't tell him nothing. He think he got it. And he's like, I got y'all. But he did get us.
He did.
He got us. He got us good because he got that thing. He fooled us all. He packed her up, polished her up, put some weave in her hair and eyelashes on, and walked her right through Congress. Got her dialed up, got her a new dress, took her over there to the city, walked her right on through the city. They was like, oh, she is beautiful. That's the beautiful bill. And they passed it. They gave her, they made her the queen of the night. They gave her crown and passed that bill.
Not the queen of the night.
She's the queen.
We done went to the Whitney Houston lyrics.
She's the queen. Donald Trump pulled a big one off last night, y'all. And that one is going to hurt. It's going to leave a mark on everything that we're going to do here. So everybody need to be wise. Everybody need to keep your ears and eyes open. And we need to come together. And we need to start really looking at stuff for what it really is. And we talk about the stuff that's going on with Candace Owens and others that's going on in this country. And that's been the thing. People need to be more aware of what's happening because it's going to get deep. It's going to get deep, and we got to be careful with what people try to label as anti-Semitic and all these other things that when you decide you want to say something about something, don't be scared to speak out. Now, I ain't telling people to get out here and start saying crazy stuff about one another and start trying to pick fights with people. But come on, man, we definitely need to do more coming together than we do breaking apart. That's for sure.
We have to. And we have to be read and stop listening to other people to formulate your opinion and investigate, look at stuff, read on stuff. Talk to people who are experts in the areas so that you can get information that helps you to formulate your thoughts, your opinions. And we need to sit down. We need to have these conversations. We need to make our family members aware. We need to make our communities aware. We need to make sure our churches and everything are aware of what's happening.
Yeah, so you know what? I want to go into something else. I got DJ True in the house. He's here getting all our stuff together. And we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of things that we did. We had a couple of accomplishments, some really big accomplishments that happened to our station and the stuff that we've been working on. And what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break first. We're going to take a really quick break. We're going to let him get set up. And then we're going to come back and talk a little bit about some of the stuff we got up and coming. We're going to talk about some current events. Judge Michael Nelson is going to come in and open up court. He got something that's on his mind as well, so he should be here by that time as well. So we'll be right back.
What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell radio show for What's on Your Mind Tuesdays. What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell radio show. What's on Your Mind Tuesdays? Call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on
Support
social
for
media.
WOVU comes from Interval, a new sci-fi film presented by Studio Zero Media, Mad Work Studio, and iFilm 216.
What's up, Cleveland? It's
Interval
time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell radio show. What's on Your Mind
Screenings take
Tuesdays?
place
Hit us up on social media. Let's go.
Support for WOVU comes from Greater Cleveland Works, which
What's up,
provides
Cleveland?
resources
It's time
for
to turn up the
individuals at
conversation.
different
Tune in
stages
to
of
the
their
Strategic
employment
Moves with
journey,
Kenn Dowell
skills
radio
training,
show.
and
What's
other
on Your Mind
no-cost
Tuesdays?
employment
Call in,
assistance.
comment,
Greater
and connect
Cleveland
on
Works also
WOVU 95
collaborates
FM,
with employers to
WOVU.org,
support hiring,
and hit us up on
training,
social
and
media.
employee
Let's go.
retention. Services are available at the Ohio Means Job Center at 1910 Carnegie Avenue. More information is
What's
at
up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up
greaterclevelandworks.org.
the conversation. Tune
Take the
in
voice
to the
of the
Strategic
community
Moves with
with
Kenn
you.
Dowell radio show. What's
WOVU
on Your Mind
95.9
Tuesdays?
FM
Call in,
is now
comment,
on the
and
iPhone.
connect.org,
The Legal Aid
and hit us
Society
up
of
on
Cleveland.
social
Since
media. Let's go.
1905, Legal Aid has offered free civil legal services to individuals and families with low incomes across Northeast Ohio. Their work includes
What's up,
support with
Cleveland?
housing,
It's time to
domestic
turn up the
situations,
conversation.
and public
Tune in
benefits.
to the
Legal Aid
Strategic
serves
Moves with
clients in
Kenn Dowell
counties
radio
including
show.
Cuyahoga,
What's on Your
Lorain,
Mind Tuesdays?
Ashtabula, Lake,
Call in,
Angiela,
comment, and hit us up on social media.
CLEP.org.
Let's go.
Support for WOVU comes from the Make Them Know Your Name Foundation, presenting the 4th annual Pop-Up in the Park, Sunday, August 31st from 3 to 10 p.m. at Mall C Strawbridge Plaza. Scheduled activities include food trucks and vendor shopping, kids play zone, DJs, fireworks. Doors open at 2 p.m. with live performances from Drew Hill, Adina Howard, and Carl Thomas. Free tickets are available with code CLE.
Support for WOVU comes from Neighborhood Family Practice, a nonprofit federal qualified health center with 7 locations on Cleveland's west side and in Lakewood. NFP provides primary care, behavioral health, dental, midwifery, and pharmacy services. Medicaid, Medicare, and most commercial insurance plans are accepted. A sliding fee scale is available for those without insurance. More information is available at NFPM.org.
This is your show, your topics, and your voice. Join me, Kenn Dowell, for What's on Your Mind Tuesday on 95.9.
You're tuned in to Strategic Moves with Dr. Harold E. Burton and Kenn Dowell. And we're here today talking a little bit about just some current events and bringing everybody up to speed on some things. One of the things that we wanted to talk about is I had a few accomplishments and that we did as a organization and as a podcast that I want to talk about. One of them is that we had reached a goal. We started out podcasting 3 years ago. I always tell everybody it was 4 years, but I looked on the thing. We only been doing this thing 3 years. Seemed like it's 4 years, but in the last 3 years, we have made a couple of accomplishments that we really most happy about, and I'm really taking them really serious of something that I wanted to do. So one of the things we did was we were able to get our goal, and we still got a campaign out of trying to reach 30,000 subscribers. We had reached our 20,000 subscribers, which we got to, and as of in the last week or so, we picked up another 1,500, which is really good. So I'm like about 1,100 to 1,500 subscribers. So we're doing good. So we want more people to subscribe to our channel. Go to Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell podcast on YouTube and make sure you get a chance to subscribe. And the other thing we did, which was another huge accomplishment for us, is we just reached, I think it was yesterday or the day before, we reached 1 million views on our channel, which means that actually 1 million people actually looked at us and listened to what we said and listened to our interviews and all of that. That's another huge accomplishment. So I wanted to give a shout out over here to DJ True. What's your thoughts on everything, brother? We finally made it to the goal of 1 million views. Also, we had another one on one of our social media posts. We had, I think we're over 1.2 million. We have two posts that are over 2 million, I believe is what Zeke is saying. Over a million, I think is what, yeah, we had two posts that we did that's on there that's over a million as well. So we're doing good on social media. And so what you got to say about that, DJ True, before I hit them with the last bit of information on this?
Oh, I think that congratulations. When we got into this back in the conference room days, nobody was even thinking those type of numbers. Through perseverance and just hard work, we were able to make that accomplishment. Congratulations to you. Strategic Moves podcast, doing big things, definitely. And definitely to Dr. Umar. I believe that video itself, the live event video is over 110,000 views right now. So
Yeah.
things are moving.
Things are moving, man. We're doing a very good job. I want to give a good shout out to my team of folks that were helping me put it together. We got a lot of changes and things that are going to be taking place here with our podcast as well. We're going to be moving into a new studio, and we're going to be going into a thing where we're calling it Strategic Moves Network, which we're putting together a network of shows and things of that nature that's going to be on our podcast channel, where we're going to have Dr. Heather E. Burton is going to have a show on there. What's the name of your show? You're going to name it?
The name of my show is Stiletto. No, it's I don't even know the name of my show. Look at that.
It's
Sanctified and Stilettos.
Sanctified and Stilettos is her show. We have another gentleman named Mark Harris who's coming on and who's going to be doing a sports show on there where he's been training athletes and people all around Cleveland for years. And he's going to be bringing in different athletes and folks along that line. And we're going to have a talk show with him. And we're going to continue the Strategic Moves podcast with my show as well. And we're going to grow from there. We got a nice big studio that's really nice. And we're going to be looking for folks who's interested in helping us out and want to be a part of that. If you want to be a part of what we're doing, please reach out to me at Strategic Moves, at Kenn Dowell, reach out to me at Kenn at A Strategic Moves. That's KENN at A Strategic Moves podcast. And you can then drop me something in my DMs or something. If you're interested in doing the show, you're interested in doing something along those lines that'll help you out, we'd love to have you on there. And we're looking for doing some other thing. The last thing I want to give a big shout out to, man, is it's going to be a big hole in what we're doing because we're losing one of our members. It's going to be a last show. He's be gone by the time I think we do our next show, or maybe we got one more show before he's gone. But my man Zeke is going to be leaving us. He's going to move on to some new stuff in his career and moving on to other things. And so I'm going to be missing my content creator and producer of all these shows and everything we're doing. So that's going to be a huge void in what we're doing. And so we're going to be out there looking for people who have creative skills and that kind of thing who want to continue to help us. So that's something we need to talk about as well.
I was going to say, and check your Facebook check your Instagram page too, because you put a post out for looking for someone.
Let me tell y'all people who I put this post out to. You got to have some experience, people. All right. Just make sure you got some experience. And if you want to help market my podcast, make sure you have some people that you're marketing yourself to. So if you only got 5-10 people following you, I don't think you up for this job.
Some people need a chance.
I need you to keep working at it.
I do too.
I need you to keep working at it.
I need a little bit more.
I need a little bit more. Just give me a little bit more. I need a little bit more experience because and I'm saying that in all honesty because I'm looking to elevate. It's hard when we keep trying to keep starting over and digging and digging. I dug for 25 years. I am finished digging. It's time to start building on foundations that was there. In order to do that, I need to have builders. All right, not no what they call the people when they come in, interns and
interns.
Yeah, I need some builders, and so I'm gonna work with
people
the interns.
That are knowledgeable.
Yeah, I'm gonna work with the interns because I like them, and they the ones that keep the most creative and keep me going. But I need some builders to work with them as well. So if you see that ad in there, if you see anything out there, please make sure you hit us up on that, and we like to get back. We're gonna take just like a really quick break because we got Judge Nelson in the house.
He got a book on
He
the
got a book
table.
on the
He got a
table.
book
He
on
got
the
something to always
table.
talk about and that kind of thing. So this is going to be a really quick break. So you guys stay tuned.
Cleveland, this is your show, your topics, and your voice. Join in for What's on Your Mind Tuesday on 95.9 FM WOVU. Call in or comment on social media. Let's make this conversation unforgettable. Streaming live on WOVU.org.
This is WOVU 95.9 FM, Cleveland's urban alternative.
You already know what it is, your boy
What's
DJ
up,
Chris
Cleveland?
Show. You got
It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with
Support for
Kenn Dowell Radio Show.
WOVU comes
What's on your
from
mind
Greater
Tuesdays?
Cleveland Works,
Call
which
in,
provide
comment, and
resources
connect
for
on
individuals at
95
different stages
FM,
of their employment journey,
WOVU.org,
skills
and hit us up
training,
on
and
social media.
other
Let's go.
no-cost employment assistance. Greater Cleveland Works also collaborates with employers to support hiring, training,
What's
and
up,
employee
Cleveland?
retention.
It's time to turn up the conversation.
Available at
Tune
the
in
Ohio
to the
Means
Strategic
Job
Moves with
Center
Kenn
at
Dowell Radio
1910
Show.
Carnegie
What's on your
Avenue.
mind Tuesdays? OVU 95 FM. Yeah, let's go.
Presenting the 4th annual Pop-Up in the Park, Sunday, August 31st from 3 to 10 p.m. at Mall C, Strawbridge Plaza.
What's up, Cleveland?
The event
It's time
features
to turn up the
CPR and
conversation.
AED
Tune in
demonstrations,
to the
free health
Strategic Moves
screening,
with Kenn Dowell
fitness
Radio
activities
Show.
led by
What's on
Philly
your mind
Whedon,
Tuesdays?
DJs,
Call in, comment, and connect on W. Hit us up on social media.
And
Let's
ticket
go.
details are available at popupitp.com.
You're listening to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell Radio Show. What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell Radio Show. For What's on Your Mind Tuesdays.
All right.
Call in,
We
comment,
are back.
and connect on
We're
WOVU 9.
we're back with Judge Michael Nelson. He is here to hold court. What's on your mind today, Judge? Is What's on Your Mind Tuesday, and the day is your turn to tell us what is on your mind. You always got something.
Let me just say good morning to everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Our country is in a moral crisis, and it's the reverse of a trend that was taking place in the early 60s and early 70s that culminated in 2000 with the election of Barack Obama. White America was going through having a conscious guilt trip, and it resulted in the passage of the 64 Civil Rights Act, the 65 Voting Rights Act, and ultimately the election of Barack Obama. Because they were feeling guilty, that generation was feeling guilty about the racism. Now, it wasn't universal, but it was enough so that leaders and significant portions of the population said, we are sorry. And we're going to demonstrate it by supporting Black folks getting some equality. Now, I put the word some in there because it was a significant population that had not been morally convicted yet. But there was enough. Now we're in an age of white supremacy re-emerging because they feel look, we've paid the price, we done helped you Negroes, and now we happy and go on about your business. But now they've retrenched, and it's exhibited through all these bills that have been passed, and these attitudes, and all this indignity that white folks displaying. And you especially see it in Congress. And Congress has decided through inaction, allowing Trump to go wild. It's like a card game for Trump. I got all the Trump cards and the wild cards and the jokers, and they all are to eliminate or roll back everything we did for Black people during our period of consciousness. So now white supremacy is like the thing of the day. And it's not so much that you want to put Blacks back in disadvantage. They want to eliminate us and show us that we are unnecessary. That's why they really ship immigrants back to the sugar plantations, because they said we don't need them no more, but they do need them. And we are so comfortable in where we are that we don't know we be next. We be next if we don't be careful. And what we did not do during a season of good, which was during the civil rights era up to Barack Obama, we're going to find much more difficult to do in this season of bad. So I just wanted to put that out there.
And to your point, they're getting there because one of the things we was going to talk, I meant to mention earlier, is this thing yesterday that I've been watching stuff for a long time on TV, and I don't know why this thing really got to me, but yesterday I watched that lady, who is the spokesperson for the president, the little evil woman. She's a mean woman. Jesus Christ. Boy, that's one woman I never want to run into. God, she looked like she's just mean. But whoever she got on there yesterday.
She one of the unhappy woman.
Oh, definitely. God. And she's really filthy rich. I do know that. She don't need nothing from nobody. So that's why she's where she's at. But she got up there yesterday and she said that the president is here to announce that we're going to be opening up Alligator Alcatraz. And she said that with so much, said it with her chest. That's the only way I could say it. She said it with her chest and she described what it was, talking about what it was in the Everglades with all these alligators and all these things around it. And if you escape, you're going to get ate up by the alligators and all of this stuff. And just was like it was going to be a place where they were going to start putting these immigrants or not immigrants, illegals into this camp. But to what Judge was just here saying is that's the type of place that if we're not careful, it ain't going to just be those people there. That's going to be a place where they really trying to put people. And if you haven't heard about it, it's all over the internet. It's called Alligator Alcatraz. And the reason why I say I done watched a lot of stuff, I never seen nothing like that. If I did see it, I saw it on Netflix. I saw it on a movie. You saw it on something like that. You didn't really believe that at this point in time in our country that we have the nerve. And the place isn't called that. That's what they chose to name it. They actually said, this is what we're going to name it. And that's where I'm just taken back, Judge. I'm just like, man, we just in a very bad way.
And think about the lack of consciousness it takes for you to be happy and proud to say, this is what we're going to create. And the thing they described it is there's one way in, and the only way you get out is via airplane.
Yes.
And to show that the mentality of evil that now is concentrated in Washington, D.C., a place where people could go for legislative relief. First of all, the relief part is out. Secondly, the domination of people who have minds that have been destroyed by whatever lack of consciousness they've been raised in. And we have to, now, if you're an immigrant and you get picked up by ICE or ICE comes to get you, you have a choice to either be deported to a place like Alligator Alley where you know you're going to die or be incarcerated for the rest of your life, or defend your freedom. Those are the issues that these people are going to be, that immigrants are going to be facing. And it's going to come on down to the rest of us soon. But that's the choice they have to make. So I was watching them when they were arresting some people at a meeting outside of a courtroom. And the people were there saying, stop treating them like that. Stop treating them like that. They were videoing, stop treating them like that. At some point, your response is going to have to be a little heavier than that. And that's a frightening thing to say.
Yeah.
The United States of America. But it's not unusual because remember, the 249 years of this country, we've been fighting how we started as the first country to commit genocide against the original inhabitants and ethnic cleansing. That's how we started. The country started by eliminating indigenous people for the purposes of their expansion. That's why I want y'all to read this book as it relates to Black folks. Get this book, read it, but don't just read it, study it, treat it like a textbook.
What's the name, Mike? We're on radio too.
1619 Project. Dr. Burton, you've read it, and
yes.
But 1619
And
Project.
I would also recommend that if you are not a reader, is listening to it. Because one of the engaging things about the book, listening to it, is that it's different voices that are reading.
Yeah.
And so the different authors are reading their sections of the book. Okay. And so I'll also recommend that because that sometimes that helps for those who aren't avid readers and don't like to sit. But yeah, I would agree with you. I would say read that. And then also they need to read Stamped from the Beginning by Ibram Kendi.
That's right.
Those are two books that need to be read in order to, I used to always tell people when they talk about how to be an anti-racist, you need to first understand Ibram's philosophical thoughts around racism before you can be the anti-racist. And so we need to read How to Be Stamped from the Beginning and the 1619 Project.
And read them. As I said, you study these books. Don't just read, study it, because this is about how you might be able to survive the onslaught that's coming at you. Because it sort of details not only the experiences that people had, but also talks about the mental philosophy of the people that would capture, kill, and strip you of your dignity. And not necessarily in that order, because he may get stripped of your dignity, then captured and killed. So it may go a bunch of different ways. And that's the reality. And we're not trying to scare people. We're just trying to tell you that what's happening in Ukraine between Russia and the Ukrainians is real. And it can happen here in the 48, 50, in the 50 states, starting in the lower 48. It's happened before, folks. I'm telling you. And it can happen. There's never been an apology for Tulsa. People, white folks walked into Tulsa, bombed Tulsa, burned down the community, took whatever they wanted, and went on about their business like it was it's what we do.
Yep.
That's what we do, y'all.
And that's the mentality that they have now.
That's coming back. Yep. It's what we do.
He said that's what we do.
That's what they do.
That's how they built the nation.
That's right. That's right. That's how they do.
And if you think about a nation that's built on genocide, and as you use ethnic purification, this idea of whiteness, where do we think we're going to be now with the folks that are perpetuating and pushing forward this same ideology of whiteness, the same ideology of genocide? Because we can say anything, but when we think about what's happening with immigration, this is a form of reckless genocide. And so we gotta be prepared.
So do y'all think it's more of them than it is of us?
Oh, it's definitely more of them. This is fratricide that began. This is that European destruction that they've been exhibiting and engaged in since for centuries. It's easy. It comes easy to them to do this.
So how you win?
I want to add to what Judge Nelson is saying is when you ask the question, is it more of them than more of us? I think one thing we have to recognize is with them, when we're talking about specifically those who practice white supremacy and believe in white supremacy, their family members may not be white supremacists, but they're going to fall in line with them before they fall in line with us.
I got you.
See, consciousness and guilt drove the white folks supporting our causes in the 50s and 60s. They were conscientious. You had Republicans and Democrats who said, hey, we're going to take this risk. Lyndon Baines Johnson, he stepped out there. Kennedy was drug out there, but Lyndon Baines Johnson had a whole change of his philosophy and said, okay, I'm going to do this knowing we're going to lose a whole lot more than I'm going to win, but I'm consciously committed to this proposition. And he took that step.
So right now we don't have nobody.
Oh, heck no. We don't have anybody in the dominant party. We had fewer people in even the Democratic Party, but the dominant party right now doesn't have any consciousness. That's why they can do budget cuts and cut SNAP and cut Medicaid. I mean, how ignorant do you have to be and evil do you have to be to say, I'm going to cut out grandma's Medicaid and cut out her relief and make in terms of making prescriptions lower cost? What was it?
Diabolical.
That's the word.
Diabolical.
Yeah.
Man. They just really diabolical.
Here's medicine, and we're going to snatch your health care away for no reason. Hey, man, shoot, snatch that health care away.
Wow.
With a smile. With a smile.
It's terrible, man. We're in terrible times, man. I just don't. And we're only, folks, getting into the seventh month of a 4-year run. I just don't know how it's going to get any better. I really don't. I just don't.
Now, we talk about the discouraging part. Here's the encouraging part. We know how to fight. We know how to organize. But the problem is that most of our people, because of our failing school system, don't even know the rights that they're about to lose. So we're going to have organizations going to have to collaborate to at least explain to this generation the rights they have so they'll know what to fight for. Because right now they don't know that they're trying to preserve due process, equal protection, to be considered innocent until proven guilty. They don't realize what's at stake.
Do they even know what it is?
No, and we're going to have to teach them.
And that was going to be my question to you, Judge Nelson. How do we encourage folks that aren't engaged to get engaged and to educate themselves on how to navigate this system and how to actually protest effectively? Not just go out here with our signs and barbecue, but actually effectively move.
That's a good point. I was talking to the NACP leadership, and I was telling them, look, It's one thing to do a rights seminar at the NACP or at the meeting. That's only telling those of us who already know, just us talking to amongst ourselves. We got to get out into the community. We got to go to Euclid, Seven Hills, because Black people are migrating. When they tore down Morris Black, those people went somewhere, and before they left, they didn't know. So we got to go out there and be willing to go out there and hold these meetings.
And I think it's important that we don't get caught up in who's the messenger.
That's right.
All right, because when we get caught up in that, causes an issue. And I'll say this again: I've been doing politics and all kinds of stuff for a long time, over 20 years. Did events, and when we put an event together to try to get 200-300 people in the room, is hard. And man, it's like we constantly pushing, trying to pull, make sure you're there, constantly trying to get in everybody's face to make sure you're there, make sure you're there. Hell, I said Dr. Umar coming to town. 500 people registered, want to be there. People still mad at me today because they couldn't get in there or the link didn't work or some mess. Still talking the stuff. We have 1 million hits on the fact that he said that he didn't vote for Kamala Harris. And people, why you didn't do that? You messed up. That's why we're in the situation. But my point is to all of that is conversation. And it sparked conversation. It brought people out. Whether you agree or disagree, it brought it out. So I think reason why I say we can't get caught up on the messenger is because we can't get caught up on who's going to come out to say what got to be said, and people going to take what they're going to take from it. You see what I mean? And that means that we may have to look at all kinds of people to be the person who deliver that message. It may not be an elected official, may not be a pastor. It may just be it may be somebody that everybody's looking at, but we have to be able to take that and be able to deal with it, because that's what I'm going to do. I think we're going to continue to have really tough conversations, because what you're talking about, when we talk about Black liberations and everything else, especially right now, they're going to try to make seem as Black liberation is a problem.
That is anti-whiteness.
And it's anti-white, and it's anti this, and you're being anti-Semitic because you say certain words and certain things. So that's why I'm telling everybody that we need to be careful and not going to fall on no sword for nobody to try to say, hey, let's go do that. One thing Dr. Umar told me, he said, I'm too old for that. That ain't part of our fight no more, Mr. Nelson. He said, we can go play with our grandbabies. So that's what we're going to do. But we're going to continue to fight where we need to fight and continue to do our part. And that's the part that I'm saying. So I'm not afraid to have the tough conversations or to be able to get out here so people can indulge and dive into tough conversation, being part of that. But we can't be so caught up on who is delivering the message.
On our way out, Judge Nelson, can I ask you one more question?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
What do you feel like is the biggest difference between Black folks today and the ones that was experiencing that white consciousness that you referred to earlier?
We were in a battle then, and the battle was real clear. You couldn't go in the store. You couldn't go in the bathroom. They had signs up, whites only, colors only. We couldn't go through the front door of a restaurant. Our entertainers had to go through the back door. And when you traveled, you had to have a book to know where it was safe to stop, where you could buy gas and not get lynched. Nowadays, we have this sophisticated kind of racism, this real fine-tuned kind of racism, except Donald Trump is going back to the colored signs and white signs without posting them, but he's saying them, and he's encouraging his folks. So the difference then was that not only did we have the clearness about who the enemy was, but we also had a desire to say, this ain't going to be us. We're going to fight this, and we're going to get busy. Now, when Nicole Hannah-Jones, who created this Project 19, was in Cleveland, she addressed the attitude of some of us. She said, a lot of us like to talk about what we would have done back in the civil rights movement if we had been around. And she said, if you ain't doing nothing now,
you wouldn't have did nothing then.
You wouldn't have done nothing then. If you was quiet and acquiescing now, you would have been quiet and acquiesced then. If your job was the most important thing to you today, it would have been the most important thing to you then. So we have to go back to that Fannie Lou Hamer, I want better, even if I don't know what better is. She had no idea about what she didn't have, but she had enough to know that she deserved what everybody else had. And in so doing, she organized and fought without the benefit of a phone, cell phone, any of the modern technology. She got her word out. And we have people like that. So I'm appealing to all the organizations, have a following.
Make this your closing remarks, Mike. Go ahead.
Get out there, organize, leave your meetings and go to the neighborhoods and meet and explain to people what their rights are so you can encourage them to get into this battle.
What did you got to say on that?
I was listening, and especially with Uni's questions and to what Judge Nelson is saying. And I think one of the things that has happened between the difference between Black people then, Black people now, is that we've benefited from the work of those before us. So it's easy for us not to pay attention to what is really happening because we've lived off of the labor and the lives of those that came before us who fought. Yes. And so when we walk into the space, we see what looks to be perceived as okay.
We good.
Yeah, we won. We good.
Get me some white pie.
Yeah,
and be cool.
And be good. Versus understanding that there is so much covert racism that exists still within every space that we occupy. And that's the fight that we have because there's too many of us to believe that we are okay and that racism is not affecting us. It's not impacting my community. It's not impacting my children. It's not impacting this. And until we get to the place to realize that it doesn't matter where you are, if you Black in America, you do not have fair equability in no space you occupy. And if you believe it, then you are a part of the problem as well.
So let me ask a question because we got a few minutes. I'm running this by both of y'all. How do you do all of that without having a chip on your shoulder?
Oh, you're going to have a chip. I went down to the Legacy Museum down in Montgomery. And as soon as I walked into the Lynching Museum, walking on the property, my chip, it wasn't on one shoulder.
It's on two.
It's on two. And I'm suggesting that every organization should rent buses and take young people to
one in Alabama.
To Montgomery. Yeah. To the Legacy Museum so they can see the caskets of people who were lynched. And they can go over to the other museum in the same town and look at the images. Walk across that little exhibit where the bones of people who are lost coming in the middle passage. Go see it. Feel it.
That's what they do.
As Dr. Burton just said, see, right now, we ain't been fighting we don't have to fight to go to the bathroom. We go to the gas station. Our mothers and fathers had to fight and had to experience the indignity of having to go in the woods when they were traveling south. They had to sleep in the car because they couldn't go to the Holiday Inn. So go down to Memphis to that museum. Go down there and see what it was really like. And so it's not so much to see what was in the past, so you can see what you want to avoid in the future. Because that's what they take.
Yeah, that's the key of avoiding in the future. And so many folks have not paid attention to the past to understand how the past is being reissued in the present. Because we going straight back and folks don't see it. And even with this bill, when we talk about what's happening, what's going to happen economically to people, that's going to take us back to a place that where you thought you were, you're not going to be anymore. And there's just people that are evil. People that are evil, that are out there to destroy the Black community because they still have the mindset that we are not human, we are monkeys, and they at the place where they still want to get to that dehumanization. And how do we do that? And a great example is this alligator Alcatraz.
Right.
What do? You strip people of who they are and of any human characteristics, any pride. And if I do that to you, then I'm at a place where I'm trying to kill not only you as an individual, but you as a community, you as a race, you as the whole.
Who do you think carries the chip more, Black men or Black women?
I don't know which. All I know is
we all carry the chip.
If they don't have one, they should all have the chip.
The reason why I said that is because the thing where they say angry Black woman and all of this stuff, it seems like they may carry the label of speaking out more or involved in it. Black men are not as, I would say, we're more in a position where we may have more. Somebody mentioned this to me. They said that Black men had freedoms before Black women did. You sort of see what I'm saying? So when we talk about the chip, and that's what I'm saying.
I'm going to say that the angry Black woman trope It comes from this whole idea of Black women supposed to be in the same category as white women in terms of their behaviors within environments. And so when you talk about Black women, the expectation is that we're supposed to be docile and we're supposed to be quiet. And that's also a cultural difference. But I don't know no Black woman that don't use her hands.
Right.
Or that talks at a certain level. And so that anger oftentimes is placed on us. We could be cracking up and still being like, and we consider angry. But that comes from this idea of Black women being docile and falling into the category of that of white women. And so we're supposed to be with our little fluffy dresses on. We're supposed to be with our little Barbie socks. Is that what they call it? Barbie socks? Barbie socks? Barbie socks?
The good old
and everything.
days.
The good old days. And so I'm going to say that it's not so much that Black men aren't angry and Black men aren't speaking up, but because Black women are in this category of what they should be, then they're labeled more. But Brittany Cooper says in her book, Black women have a right to be angry. And if you want to read more, you can read on the angry Black woman trope within the book, Teaching Brilliant Black Girls by none other than Dr. Heather Burton.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, there go a plug. Oh, all right. We got a plug. Judge, you got 1 minute.
Well,
what you got to say?
I reject the whole thing about angry Black men, angry Black women. We should... John Hope Franklin said, the only thing Black people owe white people is a butt whipping. And he wasn't talking about just Black men and Black, he was talking about Black people gone through what we've gone through. That's what we all collectively owe. Now, I don't know who the maddest is, but I know that my level of pissed offtivity probably is equal as high as Dr. Burton's level. So we go out here, get out our way. Don't mess with us, either one of us. But you liable to get your butt whipped. Come
Dr.
at us.
Burton.
Sometimes I just have to stay quiet.
Yes.
Sometimes I just have to stay
That's
quiet.
right.
Yeah.
And because you could easily take me to that. Prime example was last week.
Yeah, last week. Oh my God. You didn't watch last week's show. You should have watched it. Hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Strategic Moves with Dr. Heather Burton and Kenn Dowell. And we had our special guest here today was I call him a doctor, is Judge Michael Nelson, a retired judge, and he dropped a lot of bombs and information to us. We want you guys to stay tuned and keep listening to us. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And this show, we will be re-showing it again on Thursday. So if you hadn't seen it, you'll see it again on Thursday. Till next week. Peace.